We got to finish off our elite rankings with our elite tight ends, starting with Mr. Elite tight end himself, Mr. Brock Bowers from the Las Vegas Raiders, coming off the most impressive rookie tight end season that we've ever seen in the NFL, passing all of Sam Laporta's records from the previous season. The difference between Brock Bowers and Sam Laporta is Brock Bowers did it with targets, catches, and receiving yards, other than the touchdown dependency that Sam Laporta brings to the table. Sam Laporta is a very, very highly ranked tight end, but Brock Bowers is a completely different animal, as the stats that he put up, they carry over from year to year, where touchdowns are more fluid. Any year, some guy could have a ton of touchdowns, or he could not have a lot of touchdowns. Sam Laporta got lucky his rookie year to put up that tight end one season, where Brock Bowers, we can much more safely predict that he will be the number one tight end coming this season in 2025. Brock Bowers last season was the tight end 2 on the season, averaging 12.1 points per game in half PPR leagues. That is very, very good. Those are wide receiver 2 level numbers, but you can start him in your tight end spot to give yourself the positional advantage if you so choose. And he's absolutely a deserving person to be in the second round of Underdog Fantasy Football drafts after receiving a quarterback upgrade this offseason in Geno Smith, coming to the Raiders, being an upgrade off of Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew, whoever you thought was better. Geno Smith won't be elite, but he will be better than those players. Brock Bowers, amazing prospect. We can absolutely imagine this guy will be at least the tight end 3 on the season. Very safe pick in Brock Bowers here. Before we get into the A tier, every time you draft a team on Underdog Fantasy Football, there are 12 teams in your draft, which means just by drafting random players, you will have about a 16% chance of moving on to the second round. However, my teams moved on last year 26.9% of the time, meaning using my strategies, I was able to make my teams 1.68 times more successful than just pure luck. And if you want to learn some of these strategies, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But let's move on over here to our A tier, where we are going to have Trey Mcbride and George Kittle. Starting off with Trey Mcbride, he was the tight end 3 on the season last year, averaged 11.9 points. Big asterisk on this guy. He had 1 touchdown. Through weeks 1 through 17, Trey McBride only had 1 touchdown on the season. He is the number 1 target in that Arizona Cardinals offense, even with Marvin Harrison Jr. being there. Kyler Murray can't see over the middle of the field. He doesn't throw to Marvin Harrison Jr. a ton. He loves throwing to Trey McBride. Trey McBride runs more friendly routes for Kyler Murray, and is why he puts up a ton of yards and a ton of receptions. Trey McBride, easily an elite tight end. But you know who else is easily an elite tight end? Mr. George Kittle himself. Last year's tight end 1, averaging 13.9 points per game in half PPR leagues. The tight end 1, still in an elite offense. They lost Deebo Samuel, so you can argue there are even more targets to go around for the San Francisco 49ers. We know they're going to be an elite offense every single year that they're on the field with Kyle Shanahan. George Kittle, absolutely an elite tight end. Anyone in this top 3, you can feel very confident drafting as a positional advantage player in fantasy football going into next year. Let's move on to our next tier. It's going to be our B tier here. We're going to have Sam Laporta and TJ Hawkinson. Now, I know everyone loves Sam Laporta from that amazing year he put up as a rookie, but he came down to earth in a big way last year as tight end 7, averaging 9.0 points per game. Not extremely impressive, but still someone that is still in that really good offense. His touchdowns can come back up closer to where they were when he was a rookie, and we can have a much better season out of Sam Laporta here. So we can still draft him highly. We just want to pay attention to how highly we are taking him. Last season, he was coming off the board as tight end 1. This year, he's coming off the board at tight end 4. I like this spot a whole lot more, but he is in a tier lower than those top guys. He does not project to be a top 3 finisher at the tight end position ever again. So do not be drafting him over Kittle or Laporta or McBride or Brock Bowers. The other guy who's going to be joining him in his B tier is going to be TJ Hawkinson. Coming off of a torn ACL, of course, we couldn't expect a massive season out of TJ Hawkinson last year, but now he will be going into the season healthy. TJ Hawkinson will be a significantly better draft pick than he was last season. You're going to have to draft him a lot higher. Obviously, doesn't have a torn ACL anymore. He has a rookie quarterback throwing to him, but We watched what Sam Darnold was able to do in that Minnesota Vikings offense, and we can have confidence that, with reasonable confidence, that their quarterback play will be pretty good, because we know Kevin O'Connell, their head coach, absolutely prints good quarterback play. Kirk Cousins had some of his best years in Minnesota. Sam Darnold had his only good year in Minnesota. We got to imagine J.J. McCarthy will be able to hold up at least some of that standard and play a very good quarterback season, even though it will be essentially his rookie year. Now, moving on to our C tier, we're going to have Mark Andrews. The optics looked really bad to start the year last year in 2024 with Mark Andrews, but he actually ended the year as half PPR's tight end 5. He ended the year with a lot of touchdowns, which is not surprising when you look at him being on an elite Ravens offense, and he's the number 1 target in this Ravens offense. Mark Andrews isn't going anywhere. He only averaged 9.2 points per game, so he has to be in a lower tier than some of the guys ahead of him, but he's still a very good tight end, still a very good fantasy asset. If you are in any sort of tight end premium league, you should feel amazing about starting Mark Andrews. Don't worry about the start of last season. It was only a flash in the pan. It wasn't actually a worrying trend going forwards. Mark Andrews is still young enough where he has a lot left in the tank. We got to remember, these tight ends can play till they're 35, 36, 37. Mark Andrews, just around the age of 30. He's got a lot left in the tank. Let's move on to two of my, I don't want to call David Njoku a sleeper, but he's coming off the board pretty late here. Last season, he was tight end 11 in half PPR leagues, but actually ended up as tight end 4 in terms of points per game, 10.6 points per game. Now, the reason why he's not in that B tier is because his quarterback play should be absolutely terrible this season. Whether it's going to be Joe Flacco, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, or Kenny Pickett, it's not going to be a good quarterback situation in Cleveland. When you have multiple quarterbacks, you really have none. That saying is absolutely rings true for the Cleveland Browns offense right now. That's going to be bad, but David Njoku is a very good player, very confident in drafting here at this lower ADP. Now I want to talk about my easy sleeper, breakout, whatever you want to call him, tight end for the 2025 season. It's going to be Tucker Kraft. Finished last season as tight end 8, averaged 8.3 points per game, and if you watch the film, there is a lot more on the bone for a guy like Tucker Kraft. He is an absolute star in the making on an elite offense with the Green Bay Packers. Yes, they have a ton of other targets at wide receiver, but they kind of cannibalize each other target shares, while if Jordan Love is looking for a tight end, he's going to look for Tucker Kraft every single time. This guy, to me, looks like the next Mark Andrews. Very, very good player. Draft Tucker Kraft this year before the market truly adjusts to where this guy should be going. He should be going significantly higher in drafts than where he is currently going. Absolutely love the value that you can get for Tucker Kraft. Now, let's finish this off with the D tier, starting off with Evan Ingram. Disappointing season last year after in 2023 he went absolutely crazy with Trevor Lawrence. We have to remember that he was injured for a whole lot of last season and is now joining a Denver Broncos offense, which is a very good offense with a young, looks like a star in the making quarterback in Bo Nix, very good offensive head coach in Sean Payton, and Evan Ingram is one of the only true target getters in that offense. It's Courtland Sutton and Evan Ingram. Marvin Mims is currently their wide receiver too, but Marvin Mims is a deep threat who is going to be a boomer bust player. He's not going to be a target hog in that offense. Evan Ingram, there are a lot of targets that he can grab this season, and I'm excited to draft him here right above my next guy, Travis Kelce. I know the optics didn't look great on Travis Kelce, only averaged 9.0 points per game last season. He finished 7th overall in terms of tight end rankings. He's got to be out to prove something this year. I know he is not as dialed in as he's been in previous seasons, but after the way the Super Bowl ended, I have no doubt that Travis Kelce is going to be out this season to prove people wrong. Now, Father Time is undefeated. Travis Kelce will be worse than he was in his prime, but there is still a little bit left for Travis Kelce, a little bit where we can still consider him a top 10 tight end in fantasy football. He's still on the Kansas City Chiefs offense, which will be an elite offense until Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are no longer together, and maybe even after that. Travis Kelce, don't expect the old Travis Kelce, but there is still more for Travis Kelce should he remain healthy, which is going to be an issue when you are as old as he is. Now, let's finish this off with our final guy. Definitely the biggest question mark on this list, Jonnu Smith, 2024's tight end 4 in half PPR leagues, averaging 10.3 points per game. So 4th overall in points scored, 5th overall in points per game. He is going to a different, he's still on the Miami Dolphins offense. This guy is the absolute biggest question mark when it comes to, I have no idea what to do with him, because he finished last year as tight end 4. So why is he ranked so low now? There are just too many question marks when it comes to Jonnu Smith. We watched the Miami Dolphins offense, and we know how good Tyreek Hill is. We know how good Jalen Waddle is. We know that they should be getting more targets than they are instead of Jonnu Smith. And the trade talks between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Jonnu Smith are also something that scares me as well. You can't project trades when we are going through and drafting this early in the offseason, but there is a very good chance that Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, goes out and gets his boy, his favorite tight end from the Atlanta Falcons in Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith was a target hog over Kyle Pitts, but as you may notice from Kyle Pitts' omission on this list, Kyle Pitts is looking like a bust, and he's never going to reach his outcome. So Jonnu Smith being better than Kyle Pitts that year doesn't hold as much weight to me as it could. Maybe I'm completely wrong on Jonnu Smith. Obviously, this take has a high likelihood of being wrong, but I also think it has a very high likelihood of being correct, which is why I have him ranked this low. But if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. If you disagree with any of these rankings, please let me know where you disagree down in the comments, and have a great day.